This is Jovan Jones, and you're looking at Extra Time TV.
Hi, I'm Shaka Hislop, and you're here at Extra Time TV.
Hey everyone, welcome to another edition of Extra Time TV. This is Andre Sooklal, and today we're going to talk about the final Gold Cup game for Trinidad Tobago in the group stage, where things are not exactly in our hands, and I'll explain shortly. But in case you're wondering why James is not here today, folks, I'll explain very soon, folks, very soon. So we're here in our EXTV studios, which is not fully finished yet, but it's coming together pretty well, folks. It's coming together pretty well. So let's talk about the game, folks. So before we head into the actual discussion or whatever, let's talk about the group. So El Salvador is on top with 6 points, Mexico is with 4, Trinidad and Tobago is with 1, and Guatemala is at the bottom of the group with 0. So let's explain the scenarios. If Trinidad is to qualify, El Salvador, who plays Mexico, will have to defeat Mexico, and we will have to defeat Guatemala. So it's not as simple as just let's just win and hope it happens. We have things that are out of our hands, and it has to work like that. So the scenario goes like this: if Trinidad and Tobago wins, we end up with 4 points. If El Salvador defeats Mexico, El Salvador ends up at 9 points, and also Mexico stays on 4 points. Now, this is where we'll have to score some goals and not concede any against Guatemala, which is easier said than done, folks. From the beginning of this tournament, James and I said this was going to be a very difficult tournament. You know, we played Mexico in that opening game with a beautiful draw. We have a reaction and preview to that. You can check that out and see our thoughts. And also, unfortunately, that 2-0 lost El Salvador, which was a bit of a cagey game for us with a lot of changes. We spoke about that in our reaction and preview for that game as well. You can check that out as well. We'll put a link in the description below, and at the end of this video there'll be some links. So let's talk about this particular game. So as I explained, the scenario is quite out of our hands. It's going to be very difficult for us to do this, but however, I'm pretty sure Angus Eve may have explained to his men, I'm pretty sure he has, the task at hand. It is our responsibility to at least try to get a positive result in the end. We can't really do anything about the Mexico game. We can just hope. To be honest, it's a very difficult situation, but not impossible. And I'm going to speak about something that I spoke about since the very beginning of this Gold Cup. And even before that, James and I brought it up. Fitness, strength, and conditioning. So I know there's a lot of people on this channel that do this for a living, and I have to be honest, I think it's a very important factor, which I will bring up multiple times in this video. You could probably do a word count if you want, but fitness and conditioning and strength has been an issue that I believe that a lot of people do not understand, and that's okay if you don't. I mean, you don't have to, if you're a fan, it's not your business to study that, but I think it's important that people understand all aspects heading into this game. Also, I'm going to say this very loud and clear for everybody to hear. I'm not the guy, or EXTV is not the kind of show where we bash one coach and we get rid of the other. We speak strictly about football, and it is my honest belief, I'm not even saying this as a maybe, that the momentum built by Terry and what's been done by Angus is why we are where we are right now. Whether you like Terry or Angus or not, that's not what this discussion is about, and it really shouldn't be. We are where we are now because a certain foundation was built by one guy. Well, how he was dismissed is a completely different issue, and now we have Angus who's there, and he's doing what he thinks is best for the team. And I think as fans, we have to do our best to be as well informed as possible. So, heading into this game, as I said before, fitness, that's probably about the 4th time I said that so far, is an issue that we need to discuss, and let's discuss that. Trinidad and Tobago has not played any professional football in terms of a league in approximately 2 years, I believe. The majority of our squad are based locally, with the exception of a few. And, even some of those guys had injuries. We even lost Levi Garcia, Jovan Jones, Sheldon Bateau, and those guys are off with their clubs and so on. Kaleem Highland is injured. So we had a lot of problems. But you have to understand something. This isn't FIFA. You have to be match fit. And the way you get match fit is you have to simulate the gaming conditions as much as you can. You can train how much you want, and yes, you can be fit and run up and down, but there's certain scenarios that require specific features and biological traits that are needed to be trained, physiological traits, sorry. And if you don't play football, that's not going to happen, and you have to play football at the level that simulates the game as best as possible, and also, you know, it gives you that match fitness, and that's why they call it match fitness. And I could explain that in great detail, but I think you all are smart enough to understand what I mean. You could have that gym fitness and scenario fitness, it's two different things. And that's a problem we've had. And I think, to be honest, I was hoping that, obviously you can't control the fixture list. If we played Mexico last, I think we probably would have had a better chance of making it through. The reason why, we used all our energy, I think, to really get that positive result. And kudos to those guys. Listen, that's no easy feat and nothing to really turn your nose up at. That's impressive. However, I think based on the physical conditions of our players, and I'm sure Angus knows this, and I'm sure Terry had this situation before, there's nothing you can do about it unless you play friendlies. It's just nothing. But of course, it's a COVID-19 situation. We have our normalization committee. Things are not ideal. This is not ideal. So, maybe this gives us, maybe some insight into in the future when things get normal, that we can do things the right way. Because, with all things considered, I think we've punched above our weight or exceeded expectations of a lot of people. And the thing is, grit and determination is one thing, but you have to have that level of fitness that's just standard at elite level performance. I know a lot of people who are listening to this video study this and they can elaborate, but you need that. You need to have the match fitness and the games that really simulate the conditions, and it's very difficult to do that if you're not playing football, especially if you are playing football and the teams are not at the level required. It's just kind of more like flatline fitness or baseline fitness. Let's talk about the last game. So we have to play Guatemala. So Guatemala, like us, played 5 at the back in the last game. They have no points. They tend to play with 3 defenders and 2 wing backs, very similar to us with 1 lone forward. And make no mistake, folks, they would want to enter this game and get 3 points on the board. No team wants to go in a competition and not get some points. So they're going to play very hard and they're going to try to get some points over Trinidad Tobago. And fitness is going to be an issue, folks, because these guys have been playing since the pre-qualifying playoff games. And then they had the World Cup qualifiers. So there was no rest. So in a lot of ways, their physical preparation was actual games. So, in a lot of ways, yes, it helped us out. But we saw in the second playoff game, we struggled in terms of fitness. And eventually the game was won, by penalties in the penalty shootout. Great stuff. I think it's good that we won that penalty shootout. But I'll explain that another time. And then we head straight into the Gold Cup 2 days or 3 days later. With traveling included, we had to play Mexico. And these things add up, folks. And the recovery in between the games, it's very difficult no matter what sport you play. Cricket, football, whatever. It's very unique to the sport. And there's only so much you can really do, to be honest. And, the players can play with their heart and so on. But eventually, it's at the higher levels of the game that makes a difference. It is what it is. I think heading into this last game, the other scenario, which is El Salvador, which makes things a little bit difficult for us, is that El Salvador have already secured qualification to the next round. So basically, anybody who has any sort of intelligence at all will know that El Salvador, knowing that they're qualified, are not going to risk a lot of their players. They're probably going to rotate. It's very smart for them to rotate and get some of their players a little bit rejuvenated in between games. And, I think that's what's going to happen. So they're not going to go and lose the game. But Mexico are going to be playing a team that's secured and qualified. They'll be a little bit relaxed. And Mexico need those points. As I said before, Mexico cannot get, a loss. A draw should be enough. But I think they want to go in there and secure that spot and show some pride as well. This is a very proud nation that wants to win the Gold Cup. They recently lost in the Concacaf Nations League. So Tata Martino and his men will want to bounce back really strong. So, a draw is also not good for us if Mexico get a draw. It has to be an outright loss. And I cannot see Mexico taking it easy. And I can't see El Salvador really passing it up. So that's a scenario we have to pay attention to. It's not really ideal for us. But I'm sure, as I said before, Angus Eve is probably explaining to these guys, that game is not within their control. You can only control the game you're playing. So as much as we'd like to calculate and create scenarios and, all the statisticians are working out possible scenarios, the fact is we have to win our game and hope for the best. And that's another situation anybody likes, but it is what it is. So let's talk about Trinidad Tobago. In the last game, there were a lot of changes. We spoke about that. Will Angus play with the same formation? That's what a lot of people have been asking. A lot of people were critical about his changes. Like I said before, and I said it at the beginning of this video, fitness and injuries are going to come up a lot in this video. I think those changes were forced upon him because I read, I believe Marvin Phillip had an injury. But Nicholas Frender, a lot of people have been criticizing. I think he's a very great keeper. I think he was one of the great discoveries in this new team. And to have a player like him playing, you know, at a decent level in Europe is very important for us. I think it could only be an asset for the team. While I like local players and I think they're important as well, I think those types of players that are used to very professional environments can help us. That's if they are professional, because I've heard, you know, some foreign players are not professional. I don't know. I'm not there, so I don't know. So I think those changes were forced upon him due to injuries and fitness. The guys were probably just exhausted and they needed to play different players. It just was that simple. And as you saw in the last game, they were fatigued. Those guys looked like they ran out of gas, and kudos to them. They continued playing and tried their best. You know, yes, we got a couple chances. I'm not going to dwell on that game too much because we have a full description about what took place in that game in that video. Like I said, it's below, and I'll probably put it at the end of this video. So I believe Angus is going to go with the same formation. I think Guatemala, considering that they are at the bottom of the table, will be playing for pride, so they are not going to be any sort of walkover. They were never going to be a walkover in the first place. And I think in hindsight, the scenario is very difficult for us. Anyhow you spin it. And I think he's going to go with the same squad. A lot of people are asking about if Telfer or Marcus Joseph should start. I think, you know, some people are arguing that, you know, Marcus Joseph is the better number 9. They're not saying Telfer is a bad player. They're just saying his characteristics don't match that position that he's being played. And, you know, sometimes it just doesn't work out. I think he has shown that he's capable of, you know, adjusting to the position. You know, it's kind of like a false 9. But he seems strongest on the wide positions, coming in, dribbling past players. Whereas Marcus is physically strong and he's able to, you know, act as the role of a number 9, but he also has some dribbling skills as well and is a bit more suited to that out-and-out striker role. I know with Kevin Molino behind, you know, in that free roaming thing, you know, he had some difficulties getting space in the last game. Another issue I had, and like I said, I believe, once again, I'm going to say this, fitness is an issue where coming down to the end of the last game, you can see that the players, you know, the speed that they were playing was just too slow, and I think it's because they were tired. It's just that simple. I think they could not muster enough energy to really create chances. Even if El Salvador did not score that goal, we were having a hard time creating chances, but it wasn't an awful performance. But I think it is what it is, and if people understand that, because a lot of people are saying we're going to win this game. I heard people saying we're going to draw, we're going to win after that draw, and I was like, you know, that's never going to happen. Our players are human beings, and it's important for us to understand this. And this is not me attacking anybody, this is me just explaining there's aspects of the games that fans are allowed to kind of overlook because they're fans, and you know, we're trying to educate as much as we can about all the possible scenarios and guess what Angus can do tomorrow. So I think he's going to go with the same formation. I'm not sure why Abu Bakr didn't play in the last game, but I'm assuming it's maybe fitness or an injury. I think he may return in the back. I think he's very important, especially if you're going to play that 3 centre-backs defense with 2 wide players that can go from offense to defense. I think in that formation, folks, it's a formation that I study in great detail. It's one of my favorites. If you utilize your players correctly and your players have the right characteristics, that formation is very dangerous. You can be very offensive if you need to be, not offensive, folks, and very defensive if you need to be, and it's very flexible, and your wing backs need to be very knowledgeable. You know, Alvin Jones as well in the back, and you know, I'm just gonna pull up some stats real quick here. But anyway, Alvin Jones at the back, Tristan Hodge, whoever they choose to play. I know Hackshaw is a player that's been proven to be very versatile. The 2 wide players and the players in the middle are very essential for this formation to really work. They are the ones that can go from the transition from defense to offense with a more composed pass, or when to hold the ball up for a couple seconds. And you know, that little composure, I'm sure Angus is probably trying to run it through those guys. But when you're in a tournament setting, you know, that's another aspect that a lot of people don't understand. You know, these guys don't train like clubs. They see each other maybe for a couple of weeks and then they see each other for a tournament. And that's why before major tournaments, teams go into camps and train to get that familiarity, because international football is very different, folks. The coaches hardly see their players, and with the COVID-19 conditions and the players in Trinidad and Tobago, both Terry and Angus had that issue. So it's not like they can sit down from day to day to train these guys, and then you have to transmit those ideas when these guys come off the plane. And you know, there's so much more than just formations, folks. It's people, it's humans you're dealing with. Do they respond to their tactics? You know, that's the thing. There's so many factors. So I'm not going to go into that too much, but I think most likely Angus is going to go with the same formation. I can only guess. Folks, you can let me know what you think in the comment section below. What do you think he's going to do? That's what I think he's going to do. I think this scenario is going to be very tough. I think both teams are going to play almost the identical formation. I think it's going to be a very difficult game. I think Guatemala is going to come out guns blazing because they want to go out with a bang, and so is Trinidad Tobago. So I think it's going to be a game of pride, folks. And then the possibility of us still making it through makes the game more exciting. Now, one of my biggest fears is when you are playing not to lose, which I've seen it happen before in Trinidad Tobago teams, where sometimes we may have a game 1-0 and they don't want to jeopardize that score line, so they play within themselves and within a shell. And unfortunately, sometimes that fear paralyzes a team, and eventually they usually concede or just stay 1-0 because I guess that's an easier result to swallow. I'm sure Angus has probably gone through these scenarios. There's a lot of experienced players on this team. So we'll see how it goes. So folks, that's as much as we could really go into. I mean, this is going to be a very tough game for us. This scenario is not ideal. A lot of things are not in our hands, but we will see how it goes. So once again, this is Andre Sooklal of Extra Time TV. You can check out our match previews and reviews of the Mexico game and the El Salvador game. Also, my reaction to the Copa America final against Argentina in the link in the description below. And also, my discussion about England and if they're an overrated team. I know that's going to trigger a lot of people, but I had a quick light-hearted video about that. You can check that out as well. There's a lot of fun videos for us to check out, folks. So once again, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment in the comment section below. And folks, in the description, there is a link to our merch store where you can purchase EXTV merchandise around the planet. And why I'm telling you this, it's not just that you're going to have cool merchandise. The fact that when you purchase one of these items, the profits from this go towards kids who have been decimated by the COVID-19 pandemic. A lot of kids don't have parents, they don't have income, and if you don't buy any jerseys, they're not going to get any help. So with each purchase, it goes to them. And when you wear the jersey, because it looks fly, it looks good. People still say fly, I don't know, but it looks good. And when you wear the EXTV jersey, that shows and represents that you are not just wearing an EXTV jersey and you're not just supporting EXTV, but you represent somebody who cares. So it's not like you're just wearing a jersey. People will automatically know that this person purchased some items and helped. So it's entirely up to you guys. So feel free to support us. So once again, folks, like I said before, and I always say, don't forget to like, subscribe, comment in the comment section below. Check us out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter, and all those other social media things. We always have some hilarious videos. A little message from Leo Messi. A little wink there, folks. I'll explain that as well later on. So also, before I go, check out extvmedia.com. Our website is currently under some construction, but it's still accessible. So there are some interesting articles in there, folks, and blogs. You can check them out and, just support us, folks. We appreciate the support in the comments. So let me know what you think, your thoughts, suggestions, what formation you think is going to be played. How do you think Trinidad Tobago has played so far in this tournament? What do you think about Angus Eve? What do you think about the team moving forward, even if we don't make it, even if we do make it? Let me know. I would love to hear it. This is an open discussion for everyone. Folks, this is Andre Sooklal at EXTV Studios, still under construction, telling you thank you for joining us, and we'll continue to cover the Gold Cup even after Trinidad Tobago is gone. So like I said, thank you for joining us.
Just a reminder, everyone, for more episodes with Shaka Hislop, be sure to head over to our YouTube channel. Also, don't forget to subscribe for more updates, interviews, and content.